Today we're taste testing the bounty of the garden. 4 different varieties of cherry tomatoes and 3 different varieties of larger tomatoes for taste testing. There's quite an array of colors, sizes, shapes, and textures of the skin. So Jim and I are gonna let you know what we think. Here I have a cherry Chadwick tomato, a black cherry tomato, a pink Bumblebee. This is an evil olive. And here we have black Krim, Berkeley pink tie dye, and Berkeley green tie dye. Cherry Chadwick tomato.
Really flavorful.
Wow.
Like all the tomato is out of my mouth except for the skin right now. Skin is still good. Very good.
Cherry Chadwick tomato is a burst of flavor in my mouth. The skin is a little thick, but it is very juicy. It's got a light sweetness to it. This is what I think of when I think of a perfect cherry tomato, but better. The black cherry tomato.
Now we grew the black cherry hybrid before, and this is heirloom of the similar type of tomato, correct?
Correct. And these are the only fruits that I have off of the heirloom plant. So it's not producing very generously like the hybrid did, but the fruit is a very lovely color. It almost looks like grape, the color.
Semi-translucent almost. Mm-hmm. These are still warm from the sun, so this is the best way to test a tomato. Oh wow, it almost tastes a little bit like a grape. Like it pops in your mouth like a grape, that one did. Mm-hmm. That's really good. I'm surprised. It's too bad we don't have more of those.
I agree. I really like that tomato. Bright and flavorful. It did have a almost fruity taste to it. Jim said grape, and I do agree with that. The color's a little reminiscent of a grape, and so is the flavor. It's very delightful. Pink Bumblebee.
These have, as you can tell, a beautiful color to them. Streaked. They're just really nice looking tomato. It's really tasty. That's really good. Not super acidic. Skin's pretty good. Not super thick. Got some tartness, but it's a really nicely balanced flavor.
Actually has quite a bit of a mouthfeel to it. It does seem to be pretty meaty. It has a lot of texture from the tomato on the inside. Evil olive. This is new to the New Sages garden. I'm going to slice this one open and we're going to find out what that's all about.
Ooh. It's got more color on the inside than the outside.
Evil olive tomato.
Pretty. It feels real firm. Has a firm feel to it. Pretty robust, like hearty. Like you have to chew this one. It's not as juicy as some of the other ones.
The texture on this it does have a lot of meat to it, similar to some Roma tomatoes. This is a cherry tomato. I wouldn't know that if I was blindfolded. The size too? I mean, this is pretty substantial. You're not just gonna pop one of these in your mouth.
Right.
Berkeley green tie dye.
These are just fun because the way the name implies, you get a little, the little streak of color, you get little streaks of color on the outside. They're fun. Just had my first squirter. Just a great texture of a tomato. You can tell the skin's there, but it's not bad at all. I can bite right through it.
The Berkeley green tie dye for me has been a very pleasant surprise in the garden this year. I wasn't quite sure when these were going to be ripe, but they do start to change to a nice orange yellow color on the outside. And then when you cut these things open, sometimes you get these streaks of red through the tomato too, which are just absolutely beautiful. This is very tender, not at all like a green unripe tomato that has a lot of crunch and crisp to it. No, this is sweet, delicate, and juicy. This is a delightful, lovely tomato. We're gonna try its friend, Berkeley Pink Tie Dye next. Berkeley Pink Tie Dye has been grown in the New Sages garden for about 3 years.
Oh man, that's a really good one too. For me, there's some similarities to the green tie-dye in terms of a texture, a really nice, consistent texture, tartness, some sweetness. It's really just a really good tomato. It's really nicely, it has a little bit of everything.
I absolutely agree with that, Jim. I think these two tomatoes are very different visually, but the flavor profile and the texture of the skin and the tomato itself is very similar. Berkeley Pink tie-dye is slightly sweeter, and I think that the green has just a little more acidity, but I'm not sure that I could say that if I was blindfolded. These are both very delightful tomatoes. There is just so much beauty on the inside of these fruits when you open them up. This will make your summer plates most delightful. Here we have a black Krim. This is new to the New Sages garden in 2022. They do ripen up to a nice, deep, almost burgundy color. This is delightful on tomato sandwiches.
A little less sweet and a little more hearty almost, but not super acidic to me. It just has a little bit more, like I almost can taste this becoming tomato sauce.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Skin's pretty good and thin, but it's really good.
The skin is thin, pretty delicate. It has a nice texture. It's not very meaty. It's not overly juicy. It is not too sweet either. I think the sugar content in the black Krim is lower. It does have a nice acidity. It almost has a sense of like it wants to be fire roasted, just waiting for a little smoke to be added. There you have it. The New Sages 2022 tomato tasting extravaganza.
Installment 1.
I hope you're hungry. These were good, huh? The skin just wants to burst just as soon as you eat them.
Mm-hmm. They put in that crocodile Dundee thing when he pulls out a knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife. I should have had 2 knives. I pulled out one. You see.